good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are joining us live around the world on this beautiful podcast, Uplift, conversations that will set your heart on fire. My name is Sarah Wade. Today we've got my beautiful co-host, we've got Neil Thrussell, and joining us all the way from Canggu in Bali, we have the amazing Christiano Green. Now, I just want to let you guys know we have come from all over the world to get here today to bring this conversation to you. And what will really help us to help you would be if you jumped on those little keyboards and get involved in that conversation. We've got an amazing panel of people here today who would love to help to serve you. So drop us some comments, okay? So introducing, we've got myself. As you know, I'm here introducing everybody today, and I am a mindset coach. I help people with this twist of art therapy. I'm also a speaker, a facilitator, and I'm doing a retreat, so I'm looking forward to that. We've got Neil, who's coming from Canada. How's Canada today, Neil?
Cold and wet where I am. A high of +8 and raining.
Interesting. And then we've got an Australian expat who's recently left our country. Fair enough. He's gone to warmer climate. He's in Canggu in Bali. We've got Christiano Green joining us, and he is a mindset coach for gay men and women. How are you, Christiano?
I'm doing fabulously here in Bali today. It's 30 degrees, but loving the weather, loving the climate. Instead of the cold 20 degrees in Sydney.
Shame you're not there, all rugged up like I am, hey?
Exactly.
Bigger and better things to do in Bali. Now, I'd love to hear, you've recently left Australia, as I just mentioned. I'd love to hear what took you to Bali.
Good question there, Sarah. Recently I've been building up my coaching business for the last 12 months, and I was doing that alongside working in the corporate world. So I've been working in the corporate world for the last 15 years. And about almost 2 months ago, I just left the corporate world and was ready to go full time in my coaching business, which, has been an amazing journey the last 12 months. So being able to do that, led me to a couple of decisions. Like, before, I was always stuck working in a location because I had to do that for work, right? I had to go to the office, I had a big team of 300 people. So I had a lot of responsibilities. When I was able to get rid of that type of thing from my life and actually focus on what I wanted, which was creating a business that I could be wherever I wanted, I said, well, if I can be wherever I want, where do I really want to be? And I've always had a love for Indonesia and Bali. I've been there, 5 times before this. And so it was a natural progression for me to take that first step. And, it's only 6 hours away from Sydney, so I can get back and forth when I can, due to, restrictions, etc. But it was a nice place for me to step into more of my spirituality, more of me, and really go deeper into helping my clients, because I feel like, when you give all of what you can and feed up your bucket, fill it up to the top, you're able to serve your clients better. And that's really, really what I want to do.
So true. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And to me, it's what's really exciting is 10 years ago, and this is a stereotype answer, 10 years ago, I don't think it would have been okay to come out and say that you were a coach for the LGBTQ plus genre. That I find it beautiful. We've still got tons and lots of direction that we can move to support everyone as an individual. But that there is a beautiful market for it, and that it's safe for you in most, not all countries, but in most places, it's safe for you to say that. And that to me is wonderful in itself, that there's a market and you're able to fulfill your passion.
Totally, yes. 100% feels. Oh, go ahead, Sarah.
No, you go. I was
saying, yes. So it is.
We've got a lag.
It's definitely wonderful to be able to. Got a slight lag here. Sorry, I'm in Bali, guys. There's always a little bit of internet issues when you're over here. So apologies if I'm a little bit behind everyone else. But yes, no, it's beautiful that I get to be able to do this. And you're right, probably 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been easy for me to do. Probably would have been a bit more of a struggle. So I'm so glad to see, the progression of where we're at in the world that has taken us to today. And for me to be able to do this openly and be able to build a business and help other people in that community, and then be able to find me as well, because the world has definitely gone online now, and so I can coach from wherever I am, and being able to do that for beautiful gay men and women all around the world is something that is exciting for me, and something that I don't lightly being able to do.
Yeah, I can imagine you do delight in that. I'm curious because we've mentioned about 10 years ago a couple of times now. So 10 years ago, would you have wanted a coach to help you through with what you were going through personally, Christiano?
10 years ago, probably it would have been 15 years ago, it would have been great. 10 to 15 years ago, it would have been amazing. I think back then I really didn't know all about this coaching world there. I've always been someone who's been definitely interested in personal development, done a lot of reading, dabbled in this course and that course, but I never really invested fully in myself, because I think as a gay person, you kind of, you're in the closet a lot, so you kind of repress yourself inwards a lot, so you don't always go looking for other people to help you. Think that you have to do this on your own, because you build up a big wall and you become very independent, thinking that you have to do it on your own. But over the years, the help that I've been able to get from other people, and to realize that that's what you can do for your own clients, definitely shifted. So back 10 years ago, when I was stuck in a place of partying, drinking, drugs, all of that stuff, definitely would have felt like if I'd had someone there to help coach me, and someone that I could look up to within the gay community that was doing that, I think where would I be today? But I don't look back and regret anything, because we all have our own journey, and we got ourselves to today from that journey. But yeah, it would have been amazing to see who I would have been today if I was able to start that journey 10 years ago, for sure.
Yeah, imagine that rocket. Wow, amazing. So go, Neil.
So we're as to help people uplift and help people what's something that the average person can do where can they go, or how can they find out more information to be a support to all of the communities?
Where can people go to be more of a support to the LGBT communities, etc.? So
Yeah.
well, I've got my own Facebook group, which is LGBT Mindset Mastery. It's a place where it's a safe space for people, all people from within the QIA plus community, because there is a myriad of different people within the gender spectrums and the sexuality spectrums that are looking for support, or looking for a safe place for them to be able to be themselves. So I go in there and I share content. There's a great space for people to share themselves, their journeys. And also I go live every single week, sharing mindset tips for the team in there, so that, they can learn new skills as well along the way, as long with them getting to know and understand who I am and what I do, so that they can feel supported. And that's kind of a great space for me to be able to connect to more people in my community, which is amazing for me to be able to do that.
Could you repeat the name of your Facebook page again for us, please?
Yeah, so my Facebook group is LGBT Mindset Mastery, and you can find it actually just from going to my own personal page. There's a link to it from my page as well, which is Christiano Green.
Okay.
There it is. There it is.
That makes it easier.
Perfect.
So I'm curious then, have you noticed since going online and since living this beautiful laptop lifestyle that you do, are more people comfortable talking online than they are in person? Have you noticed that?
Look, I think especially over the last, 12 to 18 months with what's happened in the world, that's all people could do. So I think a lot of people have just been accustomed to communicating that way. So definitely 100%, what happened with the pandemic and having people, lockdown and isolation really pushed people to connect in ways that maybe they hadn't done before. And 100% I feel that there is still a lot of people that are comfortable, but there's also still people that think, are getting there that way, which is kind of why it's good for people like us to be out there and open and showing who we are and what we're doing and living our lives. Because, you know, if I just talked about coaching all day long, people wouldn't understand me and my lifestyle. And I feel like showing other parts of your life is important, you know, when you're trying to build up your business as well, because then people get to see what it's like outside of just what you do for a living. It's important to understand that if you want to connect with someone, you've got to understand what their lifestyle is, because, you know, them as a person is as important to you as them as a coach. So yeah, I think definitely bring it online and seeing that, because in real life you wouldn't always see everything that someone's doing. You might just see your counselor or a therapist 1 hour a week. You don't really know much about them, and you don't get support in between. Whereas an online coach, you get your session, but you also get to talk to them in between if you're stuck and struggling. And that's what I love the most, is that if my clients need me, they can reach out to me, and I'm there for them to help them figure something out in that moment. You know, that's the thing I like the most.
Wonderful. So since you've gone on this beautiful journey, I've obviously, we've chatted before. Some of our audience will be aware of that, some won't. I'm curious to know, so a while ago you turned sober, you know, you changed your life completely. And I'm curious to know how you are in that journey and what it was that sparked that for you and how that might help others.
Amazing. Thank you for first adding that part in there. Yes, I've actually been sober for 10 and a half months, coming up to 11 months. So it's been a very, very transformative, you know, 12 months for me. And it all actually started with me deciding to open my business. I think coming from it before, I was living a life where I had, if you look on the outside, I had a really good life. You know, I had a high-paying job. I had, you know, a big team of people looking up to me. You know, I had good friends, etc., etc. But I think really deep down, I was feeling unfulfilled with what I was doing. I was feeling unhappy within, but because I was, you know, not confident with where I wanted to go, and I felt kind of stuck because I got into a job that I kind of just said yes to. And then it grew. And then it got to a place where I felt like, oh my God, if I leave here, there's all these people that, you know, need me. And I had all these stories in my head that I was telling myself about it. And because I was feeling unfulfilled and unhappy, to try to mask and get away from some of those feelings, I would turn to alcohol. And it was my way to relieve the stress. And I would tell myself, oh, I had a stressful day, I can have a drink. But, you know, it would never just be a drink. It would become a bottle or 2 bottles. And then I would, you know, be in a cycle of doing that consistently. Now, I was probably never the one that would drink every single day, but I would drink a lot when I did. And it got to a place where, you know, I was very much, you know, unhealthy with how I was being with it. And it was really bringing me depression and anxiety. And it was causing a big spiral of anxiety in my life. And so when I wanted to cure myself from anxiety, I would have another drink because it would calm my nerves. But then I got into such a bad habit with that. So the thing was, when I really decided that I wanted to become a coach and open my business, I said to myself, well, okay, if I need to do this, what is actually holding me back? One of those things was the alcohol, right? But the other reason why I did it was because I felt that if I wanted to go out there and help other people be fulfilled and happy, I needed to check myself. I needed to look at myself in the mirror hard and fast and say, what are the problems that you have? What are the things that are holding you back from actually doing that? And the drinking was the number one thing. So when I really committed myself to my business and my mission, because this is a mission more than just a career for me. This is something that I believe is inside of me that I have to do, and I'm really, you know, passionate about it. So I said, you know, that drinking doesn't serve me anymore. Now, you know, what I did at that time to get myself clean and thought this to myself, I joined AA. I got myself a sponsor for the first 100 days, and I committed to doing that every single day because I knew that if I needed to do it, I needed to get some people who had been before. So someone who could coach and guide and mentor me along the path. And so I joined AA, did that. I was going to meetings weekly and speaking to my sponsor every single day. Now, along with that, I was just putting in all the effort to continue to grow. I was shifting and adapting and making all these changes across all my life when it came to my health, my fitness, my business, my mindset, everything shifted. So when I was just doing it, I was constantly basically immersing myself into the world of personal development and growth, because I knew that if I was going to level up to be the best coach that I could be for my clients, then of course that would mean that I would be a better person because of it. And so I'm so grateful for the fact that I've been able to do that, because it's sorted my life out now, and I'm in a place where I'm so fulfilled and happy, and I just don't even think about drinking. You know, I can be around it, but for the first couple of months I needed to stay at home. I needed to check myself and just be in my own world. But now I can be around it and have people drinking, but there's a limit. You're not going to get to 3 a.m. and be at a club and feeling like, okay, this is cool because everyone else is drunk. So you need to be figuring out your limits and where you can go to with it, because it's not always going to be easy. Proximity is power, right? If you're always hanging around people who are drinking, well, then you're more likely to be drinking. So I did also have to shift around some of the relationships that I had in my life, because they were all built around drinking and partying. And when I wasn't on that path anymore, unfortunately, some of these relationships had to kind of change, or unfortunately, some of them, dissipated, and I've had to kind of regroup and find new people that are actually on the path of really where I wanted to be.
Yeah. I'm wondering if anybody can relate to this. If you can relate to this story, whether you're watching it live in replay, drop a comment. Yeah, I can relate. And please reach out to Christiano if you want some help with that. He's just shared he's on a journey himself, and he is there for you. Neil?
The last 4 minutes are so full of powerful sound bites. If you get nothing out of whatever magic Christiano is sharing us with for the rest of it, listen to the past 4 minutes over and over and over and over. So many wonderful lessons and steps up to help people. Thank you, Christiano. Thank you. That was beautiful.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where you are in your journey. There's a snippet in there for you.
I agree.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people can relate when they're changing their life, when they've made a decision one way or another, whatever that is. They do have to make that choice. Do I stay around these friends who are drinking, as you just mentioned, or doing whatever they're doing that is your normal, and stepping away from them to find your new friend group, to find those people around you? I'm curious, Cristiano, what was actually your first step? Like, how did you actually reach out to a sober friend? Like, you mentioned AA. Were you friends with the people in AA, or was there another avenue that you took?
No, I didn't know anybody in AA. And when I committed to doing it, again, we were in the middle of the pandemic as well, right? So there was no face-to-face meeting. So for me, I just went online. I literally typed in gay Alcoholics Anonymous, because I felt like I wanted to be in one which maybe was understanding of the gay community. So I didn't want to just go to a normal one, because one, was I going to be comfortable there? Was I going to be accepted there? And so this was something that I went through my head, and was probably something that a lot of, gays, lesbians, people in our community would think about is, do I feel safe going to a meeting like that, right? Especially around alcoholics, you don't know if someone's going to turn up and they're drunk or they're going to abuse you, right? So you feel uncomfortable. So going to one that was safe for me was what I needed to do. So there was this beautiful website called Gay AA. I think it's gayaa.com.au. And they had a list of all the meetings that they had on Zoom. And so I found one that was a beginner one, because I was like, okay, I don't want to go to one which is advanced and feel like, out of my depth. So I went to a beginner one where it was just filled with, a couple of people who had been in it for a while, and then a lot of people who had either been their first meeting, the second meeting, or, a couple of meetings, right? So I found this one that was on a Tuesday night, and I just turned up. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to turn up. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to listen. But they called my name out, and so I just blurted out some stuff. Can't remember really what it was now, but it felt good just to say it there, because I felt comfortable, because I'd heard a couple of other people telling their stories, and you're like, okay, that's a bit similar to mine, or it was different, but you could relate to the person. So going to one that was for that really helped me. And that's the very first time when I went to the meeting, was there was a guy who said, I've been sober for 2 years now, and I really wanted to help out someone else. So, I'll post my number in the chat room, and if anyone wants to reach out for a sponsor, see if it works. So I was like, okay, cool. So I got the number and I gave him a call, and then he became a sponsor for the first 100 days. Funny enough, though, at the end of it, he was telling me, he goes, I think you're further down the path than I am. And I think that, it'd be better if you found someone else. And at that point, I decided that I was okay to not need a sponsor, but I knew that meetings were there if I needed them, and I was just already kind of in a different mind space that I had sorted it out. But I obviously have my own coaches. I have people that I check in with and stuff like that. So I do keep myself in check when it comes to my sobriety as well.
I'm hearing a lot of mindset stuff, whether it's subtly or you did mention that word mindset once. Now, I'm wondering how mindset and you first got started and how you tie that in with your coaching stuff that you do now.
Totally, yeah. So I think for me, when it was me going through my own journey, initially I think when I started coaching, I was just a confidence coach for gay men, and which is still what I do. But I realized when it came deeper down to it that when I was going through my journey, what sort of helped me was my mindset and getting my mindset in check and always doing things that would help me feed my mindset so that I could make the decisions and be consciously making decisions. Because, of course, in life, we make conscious and unconscious decisions, right? And I kept feeling like I was stuck making unconscious decisions. So I was living a lot of my life in effect, like, oh, this happened, so this is my excuse for doing that, right? Whereas I said to myself, well, I'm not going to be that person who accepts that in my life anymore. So I needed to sort out my own mindset, and that got me to a place where I had to start really looking at every single thing that I did and go, am I actively making a choice here, or am I just letting it happen and I'm reacting to it? So when I was able to work on my own mindset, I realized that, you know, once I was able to look at a situation and then actively respond to that situation because I had the right mindset to really understand it, I was like, well, these are actually the things that are helping me to really work in my life and what I've been able to master. So how do I then turn that into helping other people within our community with their mindset? So when it comes to mindset, it's really more about the state of mind that you put yourself in, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, there's always going to be events that happen in our life, right? We can choose as a person, we have a perception of those events. Now, there could be 10 people in a room, there could be one event, there can be 10 perceptions. So people have different mindsets, you know, even in the same event, because they've all had different backgrounds, their environments are different. But, you know, there'll be people who will look at something and will always try to find the negative in it. So, you know, when someone, let's just say something happens where, you know, for example, my laptop got smashed yesterday, right? My screen got smashed. I'm sitting here on my phone, which is partly why there's probably a little bit of a lag. And I could have straight away been like, oh my God, this is the worst thing. Why does all this stuff happen to me all the time? Right? And initially, for the first couple of minutes, I was a bit pissed off, right? Because I was like, I've got all these things I've got to do. I've got clients, da, da, da. But then I said to myself, okay, what do I need to do? Like, so instead of sitting there in pity mode, I went out and I asked the people at my bill, I said, do you know anyone who could fix this? They said, oh, wait, I've got a friend. I'll message him. They messaged him. They delivered it. They sorted it all out, and they're getting sorted out for me. So instead of me sitting in my mindset, I just said, well, what can I do about it? And I asked for help. And there was people there available to it. And then today, again, I was like, okay, well, I've got my things to do. I'll just use my phone. I'll make it work, and we'll still be able to go on, because I don't want to. I've got, you know, when you have stuff that you say yes to and you commit to being, you know, with your clients or serving people, you find a way, right? And even, you know, there was even other people who were offering me to lend me their laptops and stuff like that. So just, you know, when you ask and you put yourself out there, it's because of your mindset. Some people would sit there in pity and not do anything about it. And they would sit there for 5 days and use that as an excuse to not go on with their life. Whereas if you have that mindset that's positive and you shift it around, you can go, well, what do I need to do here? And you start asking questions that are going to help to lead you to finding an answer and making it work and turning up today, having a great conversation with you guys.
I'm so glad you found that way. That's great.
Wonderful. You know. So what's it like living in Bali I'm only wanting to know, because I'm in the cold, barren north at 8 degrees. How are you enjoying the freedom of coaching from this beautiful island? Like, it is freedom. You've made the choice. So has it improved your coaching ability, or has it like made you sharper, more appreciative? What has it done for you as you as the human, Christiano?
That's a good question. So I've been here for about a week and a half now, 10 days or so. But I think before that, because, you know, when I was initially had my business, I was working a lot. So I had a full-time 50-hour-a-week job. I was coaching on the side. So, you know, I think we pulled from here to there. You know, you're not always as mentally sharp as you'd like to do. So sometimes you're doing a great job and your clients are getting results, but sometimes you go, I know I could be so much better. I could do so much more, right? And maybe that's the part of me that wants to improve or, be perfectionist or whatever. But, I think when you're tied somewhere, you're in different shifting modes because you're bouncing from one big thing to another big thing. I left a couple of months ago, and then I spent a month up in Queensland, with my parents and making sure that my dog was going to be taken care of because they were looking after it. And I was feeling a bit unsettled there because I knew that I was only there. I was transitioning, right? I was in between. So now that I'm here in Bali, I'm feeling really settled and I'm getting into a flow and creating actually the schedule that I want to do. And when you get to fully have a lifestyle that you 100% choose, so I'm choosing my hours, I'm choosing what I do, I'm choosing who I hang around, I'm choosing everything, right? And so I'm now again focused on that mindset of I get to choose this. So I've gone from I have to do this to now I get to do this. It's I get to do this because I've chosen to do this. And I think because I'm in that mindset now, everything I'm doing, I'm enjoying, I'm present for as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I'm committed here. My mindset's totally here. So whereas before, I could have been here, but there could have been something in the back of my mind going, oh, I've got 15 meetings to do right after this, But today it's like, no, I don't put on 50,000 things back to back to back to back all the time because I know that like I need to have some space in between things so that I can be prepared to be a better coach to every client that I serve as well.
Once again, beautiful answer. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I think there's a key difference there with the I get to do it now instead of I have to do it. I'm curious, a lot of people when they get up to go to work, drop us a comment. I'd love to hear, do you have to go to work or do you get to go to work? I get to go to work. I'm really happy with what I do. I can tell Cristiano is because he's just shared that with us. And Neil, I trust that you don't have to go to work either, do you? You get to go to work, right?
For me, I still have a 9 to 5, but I absolutely choose that I love the people I work with, and so it's always about choice. And my current team lead, he knows it's about choice, and he knows that if the moment that I don't want to be there is the moment we're done, because it's a beautiful relationship. We tease the heck out of each other. So I love the people I work with and what it is I do. And I'm making a slow transition, that in February of 2021, that I'm no longer going to choose to go and work for my current employer. And I'm just choosing the slow route because I have it's just, I'm not forced into it. I'm just making a choice.
What an amazing choice. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. And for those that have listened, you'll notice that we've not put any labels to anything that we've done. This applies to every single human out there. Do what you love. Find your niche. Find people that support you and love you and nurture you and lift you up. And if you, whatever terrible label or label society puts you in or you put yourself into, there are people that will love you, support you, and help you. And thank you, Christiana, for finding such a wonderful niche, because I have many gay men in my life and they're older like me, that have had no place to go. And it has only been in the last 5-10 years where they've truly felt comfortable to be themselves. And I, as a heterosexual male, it breaks my heart to see the pain and suffering that my male companions and friends that I love dearly have gone through because of ugly, there's no other way to say it, ugly prejudices. So thank you for helping my friends out.
I want to touch on,
when you go through stuff.
Go, Cristiano, go.
Oh, I was just saying, when you go through stuff yourself, you learn a lot about who you are, and all this stuff, as much as you sit there and there's all that prejudice, you build up a strength, you build up that resilience within yourself, and even though you wish it never happened, you're you have to learn to be grateful for it, because it turned you into the person that you are today. And if I didn't go through all of the hardships in my life with being a gay man, then I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today. I may not be as good of a coach that I am today, because I had to go through all of that stuff to get to where I am today. So as much as, you know, it's awful, you've got to have gratitude for where you're at, because that's the only way you can move forward from it. Otherwise, you'll sit there in pain, right? So to truly be grateful for some of the stuff, that's the shitty stuff that happens, means you'll be able to move through it. And so I'm happy to say that I can be able to be grateful to be here today and have survived all of the shitty things that happened in my life.
I love hearing that. It's a stark difference to one of my favorite shows, Schitt's Creek, where they don't have that prejudice. They specifically don't touch on any of the colors of the rainbow. It just is, and it's a beautiful, heartwarming show, because you get to see the real person and you don't get trapped by labels and stuff. How do you view that show, Christiano?
Schitt's Creek. So I've watched a few episodes. Like, something that I want to get further into, for sure. But I agree. I think it's beautiful to have that where there is no labels, because I know a lot of people do get caught up in labels. And on one hand, I understand why people want to be able to figure out, because they want to figure out their tribe, where they sit, because not everyone's going to sit there and be, you know, because when we look at gender, we look at sexuality, it's a spectrum, right? So, you know, there's people who are going to be all colors of the rainbow, which is why there's so many, you know, LGBTQA, and they say plus, there's so much there, right? People want to be able to feel like they fit in and find there are other people that are just like them, because they don't want to be all alone. But the problem sometimes is we get so caught up in the labels, is we get ourselves defined by that label, and we stick ourselves into a mindset of being in that label sometimes. So I know for myself growing up, especially when I first came out as gay, I literally was like, okay, I started living exactly 100% typical gay person's life. You know, getting into partying, I was going to parties all the time. That was the gay lifestyle. And that's part of how I figured out who I was. But I feel like I fell into that, and I was so defined by being gay that all of the other things in life were not really happening for me. I was so caught up in being gay, because I was like, for so long, I was so repressed. So living a life where, you know, labels aren't a thing is something that I'm working towards. So of course I identify as gay, because that's really the truth. But when it comes to gender, I identify as gender fluid, because, you know, I am definitely a male, but, you know, I have no problems, you know, floating between, you know, feminine and masculine. I'm totally in touch with my masculine, I'm totally in touch with my feminine, and I'm totally okay with that. And I feel like, you know, the more we can understand that life, especially when it comes to sexuality and gender, is a spectrum and it can be fluid, then it's okay, because then you don't have to worry about labeling yourself anything. You can be who you want to be, and it's okay just to be Christiano instead of Christiano, who is a gay guy and he's male and he's XYZ, you know? It doesn't matter. All those other things don't really matter. It's just who you are as a person. And if you can learn to accept and connect to that, then, you know, you'll be able to move through some of the stigma that's attached to the labels that sometimes are cast upon you.
I know when I first came out as bisexual that I had a lot of people's prejudices against me, what they saw in others. And I was like, I'm still the same person. It's still me. It doesn't matter about anything, except I'm still here having fun, or wanting to have fun and enjoy my life and have that time with you. Let's all do that. And there were some people who were like, yeah, no worries, and other people not so much. I was lucky I didn't have a family that did have any of the prejudice, and I wasn't shunned. I do have some friends who have come out and no longer speak to their parents anymore. I know that you don't have that relationship. You've got a beautiful relationship with your parents. What would you suggest to someone who is struggling, they're wanting to come out, but they just don't know what's going to happen with their parents?
Yeah, because that is a real fear. And I mean, it's something that I obviously I did go through, even though I feel like deep down I knew that they'd be okay with it. You still have that, because you are, especially as a gay person, you isolate yourself a lot. You kind of repress yourself. You go inwards. And so you kind of put yourself in this bubble. And, you know, especially when you grow up in an area that there is no other people openly gay, which is what it was like for me 15 odd years ago, right? I didn't have any role models. There was no one on TV that was represented. There was no one in the area that you could know as gay, and so all you kept hearing was anyone who would be, you would hear that they got beat up or bashed or something like that, and so you'd be like, well, this thing is wrong, right? So being gay is wrong. Obviously, people hate it. So why do I hate it? So you would hate yourself to a place. So coming to terms with it yourself is obviously such a difficult thing. But then being in a family that's not going to support you is 1,000,000 times worse. So every person will go through that themselves to a place for them to have to come out. But some people really will have struggle, and they're not going to have supportive families, right? And so it's important to build up a tribe of people that you can feel like you can trust and that will support you. So whether it's other people within the gay community, whether it's straight friends who you can trust and who love you and have that great allies, right? Or whether it's reaching out and getting support from a coach or joining a community of other people, right? There's so many places on Facebook that you can go to that are open for people within our community. And I can start up my own group, which is LGBT plus Mindset Mastery, which you can find on my page as well. But yeah, that's a community where we have close to 1,000 people within the community that share and are available for that. So finding out people within your community will be really important for you to start to build that up, because you need to find other people that you can talk to, especially if you don't trust that your parents or your family members are going to be able to support you in that way.
Yeah, I agree. And now I know that you do amazing challenges regularly. What's the next one that you've got coming up?
Yeah, great. I've actually got a self-worth challenge that I decided. It's a new challenge. Try to change it up every couple of months because I wanted to see what was really going to work best for people in the community. So in the past, I've done confidence challenges, I've done mindset mastery courses, and now I've moved into try to do a self-worth course. Now, in the self-worth course, there's kind of 3 sections that kind of touch on two. And the first is confidence anyway, because I believe that when people can start to build up and master confidence, they'll start to see massive changes in your life. So I think confidence is always going to be a big step for someone to start to either feel comfortable within their own skin or feel confident to maybe stand up for themselves, because sometimes, especially within the gay community or the LGBT community, there can be a lot of bullying against you. And so building up the confidence to stand up for yourself is really helpful, right? So we do confidence. We also focus on helping people to understand and find their passion, because I speak to a lot of people in the community, and I think a lot of people still lack figuring out their purpose and where they need to go to do that. So, the second part is finding your passion, because I want to help people feel fulfilled in life. Because again, when I was unfulfilled, I was, going into drinking and drugs and partying and being around the wrong type of people. Now, when I was able to get fulfillment, passion, I started to work on myself and grew from there. So I feel like for self-worth, passion is really important. What is it that you want to do to find that fulfillment? And finally, we work on really building up motivation, because I know that, it's all well and good to have a plan, but sometimes we lack motivation in certain areas, and it's all because we may not be able to master, our time, may not be able to master, what it is to be productive. Because, there's this difference between being busy and productive. Now, you can be busy all day, but you can get nothing done. So if you work and understand the power of being productive and setting goals and getting clarity there, then what's going to happen is you'll be able to tie in everything that you want to do from your passion, use your confidence, but then have that motivation to put it all together. So that challenge for me is going to be starting on June the 7th. And if anyone wants any information, it's a free 5-day challenge. Just reach out to me on my page. Yeah, I think you've shared it there, Christiano.Green on Facebook.
Wonderful. Excellent. Being very aware that you've got a time constraint and we've only got a couple minutes left with you. So what would you love to share with our viewers and our listeners as any last parting wisdom or words or inspiration that you just, the world is a canvas for you to just share what comes from your heart right here and right now?
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so what I think I'd like to share with the viewers here, for anyone watching, whether you're within my community or whatnot, I think my mantra is success is my only option, but also success is a team sport. Now, in life, we all have goals, we all have dreams, we all have visions. But, it's important to understand that we can't do everything on our own. We need to have people around us that can help us. Proximity is power. So having the right people that support you and your dreams and can help you get there faster is important if you really want to get, go places in life. So working with a coach is the best thing that I ever did for myself. Like I've been doing personal development for 15 years, but it was only truly like a coach, about 12 months ago that I've accelerated my growth by, 90% from the previous 14 years. Right? So having someone to help you, support you, guide you, and be there for you and to hold you accountable is really what is the missing factor sometimes in people's lives. So a lot of times people think that they need to do it all on their own to feel success. But, there's this thing of, like I said, getting support from people who have done there, who've been there before, who can bounce ideas off you, who can give you the support that you need. And having someone within the community, especially the LGBT community, like I'm there to fully support my clients, and their dreams become my dreams as well, because I really want to help people in our community win. And if they win, then I win. So again, success is a team sport. Win, win, win. That's what I say. I always want to create a win-win-win situation for any person that I choose to work with in life.
Whew, once again, so much wisdom packed in less than a couple minutes. Thank you, Cristiano. Thank you. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time and being with us today. And Sarah, any?
I would just love to add that not all transformations are visible, guys. Go out there and share who you are, reaching out to people. They're not going to tell you what to do. They're there to put you under their wing. They'll be there to support you and hear you and witness you, but you don't have to do it their way. You still can be you, whoever you are. So go out there and have amazing conversations like this and get in there and chat to people. Get to know you more through conversations and design the life that you desire. Go out and have some more chats with people. And yes. Neil, if you want to wrap this up so Cristiano can take off.
I just want to leave with, you are worthy of all of your hopes and dreams, and all I ask of you is just to take action and start with one little step. And with that, know that you're loved, and we will see you next time. Whether it's day, night, morning, evening, whatever, we will see you across the world.